wird nimmer von uns weichen, uns immer nahe sein. Treu wie die deutschen Eichen in Mond und Sonnenschein. Ein wird es wieder heller in aller Brüder See. Sie kehren zu der Quelle in Lieb und Treue hin.
Mannheim, Germany, Monday, March 1st, 2010. On arrival at Mannheim prison to witness the release of prisoner of conscience Ernst Zundel, I meet up with Alexander. The night before, he had been to the office of Ernst Zundel's lawyer, there to find out what were his release conditions, if any. Apparently there were none. He then introduces me to this lady lawyer, Miss Alexandra Rittershaus. Recognizing my name, she is overheard by the sole journalist, one from Associated Press, to say that several of my letters to Ernst were held back from him, as were about 1,700 other mail items, for 2 years. She had taken steps to rectify this illegal interference. The AP journalist asked me whether I am here as a family friend. I reply, yes, I am a family friend of Mrs. Zundel, with whom I had visited to share faith in a revived Jeffersonian America, and stayed at their hillside home in Tennessee. Today shall be the first time for me to see Ernst Zundel without prison bars between. I have attended his trial since travelling in 2004 to Canada, dismayed to learn, for the first time, that citizens could be imprisoned by secret trials at which a person would be locked away in solitary confinement for 2 years and their lawyer denied all knowledge of who had accused them or any facts concerning their, quote, crime, unquote, of opinion. And Ernst Zundel's so-called wrong opinion crime includes his historical source-critical victory in Auschwitz. His championing of the revisionist method applied to history without exceptions prompted the removal of plaques dedicated to the now indisputable lie of the, quote, 4 million victims, unquote. Plaques which set in stone 4 million now claim 1.1 million wartime prisoners died there. Thus, in my reply to the AP journalist, I took into account both this outrageous secret trial denial of public information and that a lifelong pacifist like Ernst Zundel,
I'm only a threat to those people who can't stand democratic debate or the truth,
jailed simply for source-critical opinion, had been brutally caged among convicted murderers for a further 5 years in Mannheim prison. Highly significant must be the fact that the 2 retired German judges to whom I refer in my reply to the AP were not quoted in the worldwide syndication of his dispatch. These retired Supreme Court judges, German Constitutional Court judges, Judge Wolfgang Hoffmann-Riem and Judge Winfried Hassimer, each stated in 2008 that in their considered opinion the, quote, Holocaust denial, unquote, laws in Germany should be repealed. In January 2008, during a program at the Berlin Social Science Research Center, former judge of the Federal Constitutional Court, Judge Hoffmann-Riem, put on record that, quote, if I were a legislator, I would not make Holocaust denial a punishable offence, unquote. The Süddeutsche Zeitung newspaper in June 2008 quoted retired Supreme Court Judge Hassemer, who stated, quote, "Criminal law can serve as a kind of outer bastion to protect democracy so long as it does not exaggerate and remains true to solid legal principles." I am not a supporter of the criminalization of Holocaust denial. Of course, this is a special German problem which relates to our tragic history, but so far as I'm concerned, we should consign this particular problem to the past, unquote. And although I, and apparently very many other commentators, approached these two courageous ex-Supreme Court judges, there was little any outsider could do to progress their lead, to aid the release of German-born pacifist and principled Ernst Zundel. A Canadian resident since age 19, he became a high-profile activist for historical source critical opinion and legal inquiry. Having served 2 years in Canada for no actual or intended crime, only an opinion, he went on to suffer extradition to occupied Germany in 2005, too soon to benefit from the fact that the national security certificate system by which he was frameworked as a farcical national security risk proved largely illegal by 2007. As Ernst Zundel's considered opinions were constitutionally protected in his matrimonial home in the USA, a legal pretext was conjured by which, like highwaymen, to rob him of this right, in a masked guise and at gunpoint. And once in German jurisdiction, his reasoned views were denied normal debate and deemed blasphemous to Jewish sensibilities. For that critical opinion crime alone, this prisoner of conscience, the Solzhenitsyn of Europe, has languished 5 years bravely in a brutal dungeon for his historical observations. Thus, at 8:15 a.m., as if spring had sprung, prisoner of conscience Ernst Zundel is sprung to a burst of joyous relief from his representative well-wishers. First to greet him is his legendary Viennese lawyer Dr. Herbert Schaller, who at age 87 had been at the gate waiting there earlier than everybody, alert to fend off any entrapments. News came today that Dr. Schaller had been successful in reducing the savage 4 years prison sentence for Austrian revisionist Gerd Honzig, currently incarcerated in Vienna, to 3 years for an opinion on history.
Wunderbar.
Oh, danke. Also machen wir noch ein paar Bilder von den Schnäuseln hier.
The man who needs flowers.
Ja, how about that, eh?
How about that? How about that, eh?
Irgendjemand gefällt mich. Wir haben heute Zeit, wir versuchen
Can
Ja, ja. Okay, ich pack kurz ein und komme wieder zurück. In einer Minute komme ich zurück.
Where are you going? To my
your home?
Yeah. Where are you from?
Black Forest.
So, Ernst, I want to ask you how you feel. How do you feel?
Actually, I feel unbent. Absolutely unbent. Unbowed by this experience.
Bravo.
Yeah. There is nothing that these people have done to me that would change my mind. Nothing. That's
And
right.
so now, how do you feel that you said a moment ago? I'd like to hear that on tape.
What was this memorable
Yeah,
phrase?
the memorable
that I
phrase
had-
was.
that I had won?
The memorable phrase was before you were a critic of
Oh
them,
yeah, yeah.
and now they have made you.
Yeah, yeah. Before I was merely a critic and a commentator. Now I'm an enemy.
Very good.
Wie die deutschen Eichen in Mond und Sonnenschein.
Cheese.
Ein Augenblick der Freude.
Danke.
Ja, ungefährlich.
Nicht so schnell, sondern wir spielen Konzert.
Montag, der 1. März 2010. 11 Uhr, Mannheim, BRD.
Ja, BRD.
Ein Tag nach dem großen Sturm. Die sind trotzdem alle da.
Augsburger auch.
Das war gestern.
Der wohnte, der war aus dem Bärenkeller.
A lot of stuff.
Die hat mich natürlich mehr oder weniger aufgezogen und dann gewindelt und so weiter. Und meine Leni hier, die hat mir Pfingsten 1943 beigebracht, wie man Schuhe putzt und wie man Stiefel wichst. So.
And right and left you learned from your
Ja, ja,
sisters.
von allen von meinen
Ja,
Schwestern.
das ist der
Und dann
Heber.
bin ich gekommen und dann ist mein Bruder gekommen, 1941, und als Nachzügler meine Schwester 1948. Schwesterkind. Aber ich habe es gehasst, Ziegen zu melken und Schafe zu melken.
You didn't like to.
Und das Euter war so
Was heißt denn Melken auf Englisch?
warm.
Was heißt Milk?
The milk. Goat, ja. Und so, ich habe einen Deal ausgehandelt mit meinen Schwestern. Weißt? Ich habe gesagt,
First deal of your life.
that was the deal of my life. Yeah.
First deal of your
So I
life.
said, I refuse to milk any of these animals. No goats,
No cows, no sheep.
Also ich habe abgelehnt, die mit meinen Fingern da schmutzig zu machen, öligem und nach Urin riechendem Schafsfett. Ne? Und dann habe ich gesagt, ich schreibe euch eure Hausaufgaben, mache euch eure Zeichnungen. Und dann haben sie immer noch ein bisschen, dann haben sie immer noch ein bisschen gestreikt. Und dann habe ich gesagt, und ich schreibe euch eure Liebesbriefe. So habe ich das.
Und du bist durch.
Das habe ich durchgekommen.
Das ist eine Geschichte.
Yeah, but I refuse to milk my goats.
tolerated something.
Oh, shit. And then I said, then I'll do your homework and I'll make your drawings for you. And
Finally?
and then finally I said, I write your love letters for you. and that deal helped till I left.
I write you a love letter. That's wonderful.
And now you'll be very glad to be able to be near the animals and milk anything.
Yes, no,
Yeah, yeah, no,
You're glad to be near nature.
Yeah, being near the animals, yes, but milking, that's where I
That's a special thing. Milking is...
Also in der Nähe von Ziegen und so und Schafen aufwachsen ist okay.
Cyrano de Bergerac.
Aber melken,
like Cyrano de Bergerac.
Pass auf, auch
Über
heute.
Gemüseanbau, Feldfrüchte.
Ja, ja.
Geht ja auch.
Okay.
So Klaus, du guckst ein bisschen skeptisch.
Nein, das war
Du denkst ja,
ich weiß, du da alles schon betrieben.
was denkst du in meiner Schulzeit? Bin ich hergekommen und habe mich...
Shall would you give me please some advice to give Bishop Williamson, who is concerned whether he should be pressured to come to Germany or not?
Bischof Williams soll nicht nach Deutschland kommen. Die politische Strafjustiz in Deutschland bricht die eigenen Gesetze. Alle Gesetze, die dem Schutz des Beschuldigten für wegen Meinungsäußerungen Beschuldigten dienen, werden missachtet. Er ist in Deutschland rechtlos. Die Strafprozessordnung wird nicht angewendet und die materiellen Gesetze werden auch nicht angewendet.
Dr. Schaller does absolutely not advise Bishop Williams to come to Germany.
Why? What is his reason?
Because the Federal Republic of Germany violates with her criminal methods in justice all regulations and all laws given to protect free speech and opinion.
And also the lawyer himself is restricted
Also,
to present.
of course,
Yes.
everybody who does.
So the lawyer also cannot present the case correctly, yes?
He will be threatened and punished himself.
And also we don't have benefit of you to represent him. He will not have a good lawyer even.
Ich darf nicht mehr verteidigen. In Österreich wurde ein Gesetz gemacht, wonach ich nur noch die Fälle vertreten kann, die am 1. Jänner 2008 schon bei Gericht anhängig waren. Neue Fälle darf ich nicht mehr übernehmen.
Dr. Schaller is out of the job in Austria because of his age, and he is not allowed to work in his profession, and only cases which are reach back to
Before
January 2000 of the year 2008.
You can conclude them, but no new cases.
No new cases.
Because they make a law to prevent your success.
Yes. Der Berichterstatter im Parlament sagte, dieses Gesetz machen wir, damit der Herr Kollege Rechtsanwalt Schaller nicht mehr verteidigen kann. Im Parlament.
The parliamentary speaker has expressly said that this law was issued for the killing of the activities of this lawyer, Dr. Schaller.
That's because you have been very successful and they don't like the success of your abilities. But we thank you for your abilities. And we will continue your abilities.
The time is limited. My time is limited.
Und noch einmal herzlichen Dank für alles und
So Ernst, I am very happy that you are free, and now I want to ask you, on our way to the Black Forest and your native home, please tell us what you feel. With the sun shining, we can hear the water, we see the snow, we see all around you with nature. Yeah. How do you feel?
I feel like I'm in Tennessee.
Yeah.
It's like a mini Tennessee. I could, looking at you right, looking at you, that is 100% the valley that I lived in Tennessee.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I must tell you, I have more longing for Tennessee than I have for this place.
And can you explain what you mean by that?
The lack of freedom. The lack of freedom. Yeah. It's, I think there isn't a German that thinks.
Nowadays.
They
used to?
Yeah, no, but I mean, there's a German of this generation who are alive today that can understand the difference that it feels like to breathe freely, to think freely, not to look over your shoulder, not to look over your other shoulder, before you open your mouth.
And express an opinion.
Yeah.
And your lawyer to express an opinion for you.
Yeah. What I mean is, this is so grotesque and it's almost so unbelievable that most people in the Western world cannot believe it.
Yes.
It is amazing that your own life's experience is not believed because people are inundated by a false perspective on history.
Yes.
In other words, you who have lived what the history was. I mean, after all, I'm still wartime generation, you know. So, for us to be not believed or to be questioned by book knowledge, by what people have acquired through brainwashing, this is almost a grotesque dichotomy. You can almost not explain it. But this very scene here, you know, these tall trees, the small trees, the blue sky, the kind of bumbleberries, that reminds me of Tennessee. This brings Ingrid very close to me. Yeah? Like this here, this tree behind us. Yeah, this is.
That's very nice. Well, because we'd like to bring Ingrid a lot more close to you.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a great tragedy, as I was explaining to President Ahmadinejad at the Tehran conference 2006, when I handed the Setting the Record Straight DVD to him, put it in his hand, and I said the great human tragedy and the evil wickedness of this unjust debate denial is that it will keep these two people, these two faithful people, faithful to themselves and to each other, and faithful to our Western tradition, scientific attitude and justice in our courtrooms, with no exception, no privileged veto, and that you will be kept apart by the concept of this resistance to your being able to return to America for 20 years. And this is the cruelty, that she will be arrested if she comes to this country for no good reason, and you are kept from there for no good reason.
If you properly analyze and dissect the story of Ingrid and Ernst, the tragedy of it, there is nothing in modern history. The East Germans, the Stalinists, even the Chinese do not persecute their dissidents the way we are being persecuted. Unbelievable.
Meanwhile, let us remember political prisoner of conscience Gerd Honzig, who at this time, from his Austrian prison cell, expresses opinion suppressed in the West's mistold and untold history. Here is an English translation of a ballad written by Gerd Honzig from his Austrian prison cell.
The Secret Formula to Save the World by Gerd Honzig. All the wise men of the world are seeking to save sick Mother Earth, to save the blue planet from this puzzling sickness, and that it be not shattered. Where does the plundering of the rainforest, of the clean air, of the earth's treasures come from? Why push us into wars for economic growth? Where does the debt come from, which is never paid off? Why must the black man in Africa go hungry atop his rich lands? Why do the deserts keep extending? It is the sweet poisonous kiss of the World Bank. It is bank interest thought out by the devil, who wants to seduce us as he did in paradise. Give him the souls of the people. This way he entraps, turning us into his slaves. Bank interest is theft of life's good fortune, which is taken by tin money and by cunning, so that the interest on the interest gets into the stranger's hand. Give the state back its control. Because Christ in his time assaulted the insolent money changers, they decided to destroy him in cold blood. Whoever attacks their business shall die. Murder and war safeguard the interest swindle. What Marx said was said long ago in the Quran. From money in itself, only money growth can come. Only from God-created life growth comes. Recognize interest as a scandalous madness. From the beginning, contemporary history has deceived. Since Aristotle's time, all witnesses against interest have been suppressed, from the Church's fathers to Luther. It is one of the greatest lies in the world to say that money creates employment. This is a lie to deceive mankind. It is work alone that creates spending power. Freedom stands and falls with this legal power, that every people creates its own coinage and recognises interest payment as a deceptive lie and prints its own requirements of cash instead of raising capital on the global markets, thereby burdening the grandchildren with false notes called dollar bills. Debt inherited beyond the grave? The golden calf must not be allowed to destroy the world. The sons who were lost will return to the motherland, return to their father's house. That all interest-paying debt be annulled, and interest banned for dividends to the last days of the earth. This is the formula to save the world.
Unbelievable.
So we
look at how nice the play of the sun amongst these trees, huh? And nice black forest air, huh?
You are home.
That will rejuvenate me and make me. How do I dare say that? Make me more combative.
More?
Yeah, this is like the fuel, you know, that used to fire up the kind of afterburner of Ernst, you know. Yeah, no, this is.
Ernst back in nature is a good thing.
Oh, this is.
You will put us back in our nature.
I'll be reconciled with my fate, I think, very quickly. Now that I see that the trees are still standing, the air smells fine. Yeah, that's good. Good to be alive.
Well, we're proud of you.
Good to be alive.
Good to be alive. Good. Yeah, that's right. See, German soldiers in Siberia and in Russia during the war died by the thousands because of scorbut.
Yeah.
And the Germans always wondered why
scurvy.
Why don't the Russians get scurvy or scorbut?
Yeah.
And you know what they did? They took that and they chewed it like chewing gum. They never came down because this is very rich in vitamin C. Yeah. And my mother used to make a kind of syrup in springtime out of the shoots, the pale green shoots. And then she made syrup out of that, and it was the best cold medicine. Life-saving plant.
Life-saving plant?
Life-saving plant. It's very, very good against arthritis. You make your bed out from that, and put it under your bed, thick. Number one, you'll never get bed bugs.
That's useful to know.
You'll never get bed bugs. On the Eastern Front, that's how many of the wise peasants saved themselves from bed bugs, because it was a horrible thing. Farn. It's one of the oldest plants, 200 million years old.
Really? Tennessee.
Oh, no.
Canadian mailbox, huh?
Because as far as I know, you have been painting these not from life in the prison, from memory. Now you can see them for the first time in 7 years.
What do you call them in England?
Snowdrops.
Snowdrops, okay. The mother of that boy that we just saw here, now grown up man, planted all these crocuses in different colors. They're a little late. Normally they're about 3 weeks ahead. But isn't that nice thought? That she was a simple peasant lady and she always mixed the colors. Huh? Gorgeous.
See, for the artist,
just absolutely amazing.
It is. Life in a crevice.
Yeah. And when I was a kid, none of this moss was on these rocks. Now this must be the climatic changes or whatever. None of them. These are handmade.
Handmade.
And these things here, these are handmade. And this is from the hand of the men who made it. And they're hundreds of years old, and I couldn't find the little shingles. Hundreds of years old, the shingles that are, when they are like that on a roof, there's a thin wooden shingle in between, and I had to do the whole roof new because this a died out craft. Carry a load.
Yeah, sure, exactly. Yeah, hundreds, yeah.
So what I'll be doing, my new industry is I'm going to cover some of those things with white gesso paint, and I'm going to put black forest line paints on this. Piece of timber somewhere. Put them out here. Isn't that something? Oh, yeah. There was a little spring that came out about here. And there was always an oil slick.
Oil slick?
Yeah, a little oil slick. And I always dreamed as a boy, oh, maybe my house sits on top of an oil well, you know? I was dreaming of Texas in the Black Forest. You know?
That's wonderful.
How about that?
How about that? Our sheep were in here. Let's have a look at that. Wow. How old is this house? 150?
400 years.
400 years? 400 years. 400 years.
It was built in sections. It was a lean-to for a shepherd at first, and then it became a stable, and then they added on and added on. And this in here is our hay loft, and this is where we stored our wood. And this is where the two-wheeled carts are hidden behind there. Because the only thing you could pull ever up here was with two-wheeled carts. Wow. Boy, I love this aged wood, huh? Hand-forged, look.
Hand-forged.
Nice. Exudes history.
Yes.
Wow. Gorgeous, gorgeous, yeah, gorgeous. The aging. Look at the face here.
You see his might. You see the.
He's smiling at me.
Yeah,
this is the good spirit of the Schwabians here, you know, receiving me in my hands. My father used to sit here on a summer's night. Like that. See? He was slimmer than I was. And there's a little anvil there, you know, hole for the anvil, you can see that? And then he would take his scythes across, and then he would sharpen them with a hammer like a little anvil. And the whole valley would reverberate from the banging of the anvil, you know? Right on here. Imagine that, eh? Yeah. I planted that for my mother in 1990, and this has absolutely the most gorgeous roses. This is where my goats were kept. So one of the first things I have to find, and I hate cutting living things, you know. So I'll have to train them somehow, lift that up. I don't quite know how I'm going to do it.
Also wenn du einen raus willst, musst du das wegmachen.
Ja, aber das will ich nicht. Ich möchte keine Pflanzen zerstören. Weißt? Ich bin ein Buddhist.
Ja, ach so.
Yeah. Now, in here, hidden behind that, is where my father kept his cider. Barrels of cider. Undoubtedly all collapsed by now, you know. He used to have about 1,500 liters of cider. And we had 51 trees on the land.
Da kannst du Ackersalat schneiden.
Ja. This looks like it's recent.
Und unterarm. Und das war's, 50 Meter, aber wenn es noch so
Tomorrow I'll be eating that. Enjoy it yourself. Everybody's going to enjoy that tomorrow.